Can I ask you a question why you're so excited today? Is it possibly because I just got out of the shower and the first thing I told you was I was going to take you over to Echo Park? Yep, that's right. We haven't been over to Echo Park Lake in quite a while, so I figured let's go take him for a lap around there. There's also something I want to look at because I'm probably going to vlog it in that direction tomorrow. But what we're going to do today is maybe one of the most classic 80s movies of all time. We're going to go eventually make our way up to check out some of the filming locations from Steven Spielberg's E.T. the Extra-terrestrial. Daze with Jordan the Lion begins right now. Alright, we've been here before. Let's go wander the beautiful Echo Park Lake. It's not quite known for being a place to dispose the bodies anymore, so it's kind of safe to come here. And that's no joke. People used to say that all the time. They're like, oh, you don't want to go hang out at Echo Park. You don't know what you'll find in there. And a couple of years ago, they shut it all down, cleaned everything out of it, and it's been really nice ever since. I thought perfect for a day out with this guy. You can watch all the birds fly around. I point it out every time we're here, but I always think it's really cool that they filmed that scene from Chinatown with Jack Nicholson in the swan boat out here on this lake. The history of this lake goes so far back, they say that Max Sennett used to film things out here for his movies. Is that true, Jaw? Tell everybody we vlogged it about 2 years ago, so it's pretty true. Look at the wildflowers over here. Didn't expect to see those. Yeah, so of course I was watching E.T. last night and it got me thinking I have never vlogged anything to do with this movie, so let's go see Elliot's house today and the famous bike scene. Okay, there's a part of a bra here for some reason. Nice duck. Now he's got some friends. Here we go. These people are nice enough to do a recreation of the scene from Chinatown for us. They got one of the swan boats. I've never rented one of those and went around the lake. Maybe I should do that in the future. We'll vlog that. Look at all those ducks swimming around that brown goo. Ugh. It does look cool. I love coming by here and seeing that. Kind of surprised I don't come here more often. Sometimes I just forget about this place. It's kind of a cool shot there, how you can see the skyline of downtown off to the right. Here they're talking about the lotus of Echo Park. They always have a lotus festival here every year. And she's got a very interesting story. I'll have to vlog her sometime. See what happens. You were safe this time. Queen of the Angels. They're doing a little sunglass photo shoot here. Oh, there's the bridge. That takes you over to the little island across, but the bridge is almost always closed. You're never allowed over there. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that open. There you can see the island and you can see some of the coloring in the flowers and the fountain. And up there's the little lighthouse where you can get your snacks and rent one of those swan boats if you want. People are out here fishing. I hope they don't plan on eating anything out here. I still wouldn't trust it with all the signs. That kind of explains it. Okay, we're heading up to a community called Tahunga, which is a little north of Burbank. That will be our first stop for the E.T. filming locations today. We're getting close. Can you feel like you're in the neighborhood right now? Well, this is pretty freaking awesome. We are in the neighborhood, almost right where they had all of those monumental scenes in E.T. Steven Spielberg's early 80s blockbuster that became largest film of all time, beating Star Wars. There is a little nod to Star Wars in this. You probably notice in the trick-or-treating scene where Yoda is walking around right here, but this was a story that Steven Spielberg kind of came up with when his parents got a divorce. In 1960, he came up with this kind of an imaginary alien that was like his best friend. And when he started making movies, he wanted to make a movie kind of based off of that. There's the house. Looks way different now. I mean, the house itself doesn't, but the area that we see around it in the movie looks different. We see this quite a bit, actually. I mean, from even the earliest moments in the movie when they send Elliot down here to meet the pizza guy. Get a pizza with everything on it except for the little fishes. So Elliot right here is getting his pizza, and whenever Mike backs the car down the driveway, he brings it out of that garage up there. Now they use this house for the setting of the movie, and they filmed all the exteriors here, but they did not film inside the house, as I understand it. And you'll probably remember this later on in the movie when E.T. is sick and he's all white and everything, and the government agencies come out here and set up that big tent. The big tent, everything was right over here, and that tube that everyone walked down to get into it or leave was right here, coming out to the truck that was parked right here. Now you see that scene where Mike's riding his bike down the driveway. He rides it out of here, and even the house across the street is exactly the same. Hardly anything in this neighborhood's changed. They said one of the reasons Spielberg wanted to film it here was because he wanted a house with a mountain in the background, which you can very clearly see right here. Now inside, well, on this property, in the fantasy version of this movie, you know, realistically, like I said, they filmed all the interiors on a sound stage and everything, but in the fantasy version of this is where Elliot and E.T. meet, in the backyard in that shed, and then they end up moving E.T. into the house unbeknownst to the mom. It's kind of funny how they film that, how every time the mom walks in, she just happens to not see something move, or she just happens to be oblivious. And this was also, Drew Barrymore was in this. She was little Gertie. They make believe on Trick or Treat Night that, well, they dress E.T. up as Gertie so that they can take E.T. out to phone home. So Trick or Treat Night, you hear Mike wants to be a terrorist as his costume, and the mom says, "You're not going out like that." He says, "Come on, all my friends are." So he ends up changing his costume, and then they all walk out basically holding hands out of here, and Gertie has already snuck out with the bike, and she's got the ghost towel over her head waiting for them at the top of the hill. She's eventually going to come back after E.T.'s phoned home. Now what's interesting about this movie is that it really captures the imagination, because it's this young kid who is going through a divorce himself. His parents are divorced and his father's in Mexico, and he finds this little alien who they become bonded, and he can actually feel everything that E.T. is feeling. So when E.T. is home alone, he's trying that potato salad, and Elliot's in school, you see E.T. drink the beer out of that fridge and he gets drunk. You see Ellie getting drunk in school. Kind of an interesting concept. So when E.T. gets sick, of course Elliot gets sick. And I wish all of those trees and everything weren't there so we could see kind of what is more up there, but like I said, that's where that tent was. So when E.T. is sick and they're basically incubating him, he's up in there, and that's when Elliot sees the flowers come to life, and he sees E.T.'s heart light up and everything when he's talking to him, and he runs down the tube and tells Mike, "Get in the car, come on, we gotta drive out of here. E.T.'s alive." Well, he tells him up at the top, and then they come down here and get in, and E.T.'s already been put inside the truck, and that's when Mike gets in the driver's seat, and the guy goes, "Hey, son, what are you doing in there?" He goes, "I'm the driver." And then they take off out of here, ripping that hose, like the walking tube, and they take off down the street. So now we're gonna head off in a little movie magic. They didn't film that whole scene all in this neighborhood. We're actually gonna head quite a few miles out of town, and we're gonna go over to the park where they eventually parked the van. It's now known as E.T. Park. Yeah, you definitely see this in the movie quite a few times, this house, as they're pulling out or as Mike's riding his bike out of here, so kind of cool to see it look so similar. And movie fans, you may have noticed that one of Mike's buddies on the bicycle, when they go out to basically save E.T. and so he can go board the ship and go home, is C. Thomas Howell from The Outsiders. I think actually the park is known both as Porter Ridge Park and E.T. Park. So we see the van coming towards us, and then it darts off into this park. Originally, Mike drives the van up into here, right up there, because this caterpillar that's still here is in the shot. You see all the kids on their bikes right here looking at the van, and the van is parked right here. Now it's kind of funny because when we see Mike driving anytime in the movie, he's always backing the car up and he makes a comment about, they're never gonna let me drive frontwards after this. So he parks the van right there, and they grab E.T. and they take off out into a forest, but the actual forest in real life is up near the Oregon-California border. So they chase everybody up here, and then the kids take off, and they're riding all along the roads, eventually coming to where we're gonna go to next. Basically our last stop. This is where the kids are riding their bike, and they're about to get barricaded by the police and everyone that's after them until, well, wait till we get there. Actually, I want to see if I can find that lookout spot where Gertie was up there waiting with her bicycle and the bed sheet on. Drew Barrymore. I read online they changed the fence and everything, but I believe what we're looking at right here, I believe this is it. I believe this is the view. So this is definitely it. I found the street and everything that they said it was on and brought it all the way up here, and this absolutely matches up. Even though it's a little cloudy today in the shot, well, it was pretty cloudy and hazy in the movie. It was kind of yellow. You can match up all the mountain ranges and everything off in the distance, and you can see all this kind of in the movie. But yeah, you can see all of those mountain ranges, all the same dips and everything. When Gertie's out here with her bicycle, she basically has her bicycle laying up against, at the time it was an old chain link fence, and that's when she's up here kind of waiting around for them, do the old switcheroo so she can go home with her brothers. Yeah. And then they also use this for some of the shots of the neighborhood in the movie. It's kind of why it looks familiar. Now let's go see if we can't find that last moment before liftoff. Wonder how many of the people that live up here know about what was filmed up here. All right, this is when everybody would start pedaling faster. The whole gang, they're all on the bikes. E.T.'s in the front basket. Elliot's got the red hoodie on. The kids are flying down this road on their bicycles on the run. And we see all the police and the barricades, everybody right up here where the stop signs are. So crazy to see this road and know that's the moment right here, right when Elliot closes his eyes, clenches them as hard as he can, and E.T., feeling it, lifts the bike up into the air, and all the kids go soaring into the sky. How cool is that? They need a freaking big old statue of E.T. right here on the corner somewhere. Come on, guys. See no E.T. in here, but I see a really cool horror themed yard for Halloween. Gotta give them credit for that. It looks awesome. But how do you not have an E.T. head or something in there? Hello. Is anybody but me thinking of E.T.'s red glowing finger when you saw all those dismembered body parts when he repairs the cut finger? Well, that is it, my friends, for our E.T. filming locations. Let's head home. I suspect even if E.T. came out today, it would still be as popular and be as big of a success as it was. I'm sure the special effects would be much different and there'd be different things about it, but the story holds true about when you know, a kid's going through a divorce and they sometimes need a little extra attention, and this kid finds it in this alien or this extraterrestrial. And I think even today, you know, kids are still intrigued by the unknown, the UFOs, the aliens and everything, and kids are always still having imaginary friends, so the concept of putting Steven Spielberg's own imaginary friend into a movie, I think was a great concept. Well, my friends, I have brought us out to the historic Pacific Cinerama Dome here in Hollywood because they're showing The Joker, and they actually have some of the costumes from the movie on display, so I figured I'll check out the movie, let you know what I think, and we'll check out the costumes after. Well, check this out. They have the actual costume. I messed up and went to the wrong theater, so I have to go over to the Grauman's Chinese Theater. They're both owned by ArcLight now, so I just went to the wrong place, but here's the actual costume that he's wearing in the movie, so after I see the movie, I'll tell you what I think about it. These are all actually used in the movie. Okay, since time was of the essence, I had to take an Uber to get over here. We still got over here with 5 minutes to spare. So yeah, we're gonna be watching it in IMAX tonight. Well, what did I think of the movie? I loved it. I actually wasn't sure what I would think because I'm not a huge superhero, DC, Marvel type person, but I really did enjoy it. I was really shocked to see that Todd Phillips was the director. I'll say this, Joaquin Phoenix was fantastic, and I don't know for sure if it's a specific nod, but something about this movie made me feel like they were doing a little homage to well, Robert De Niro's in the movie, but I almost feel like they're doing The King of Comedy starring Robert De Niro, so I don't know. I thought it was a pretty good movie. Highly recommend it. Alright, my friends, we're going to call it a night. Thank you, Jim Hammernick and Karen Clark, for making contributions to my channel. And I hope you all enjoyed watching the filming locations of E.T. the Extra-terrestrial today. Steven Spielberg's masterpiece. I remember seeing that when I was very, very young. I think I was like 1 or 2 years old when that came out, so it was one of the earliest movies I remember seeing. It was a good one. Kind of cool to see where that house was and where those memorable moments took place. Have a great night, everyone. We'll see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.